So today I want to talk about autobattlers, and maybe that's a strange topic, maybe not. But autobattlers are one of the few genres that I kind of like from the newer ones. Like there was this recent Chris Zukovsky post about the genres that are popular right now. And it's like horror and Friends Lab and autobattlers. And autobattlers are okay for me, and the other ones I just pretty much have no interest in. And I think the first autobattler that I played was Dota Underlords. I could be wrong about that, but I like that one. I played it for quite a while. I don't know how many hours I have in that, but it was an interesting game that I enjoyed. And now we have a lot of indie auto battlers. One that came out just a few days ago was called Tiny Auto Nights. They did a lot of Reddit marketing. And I played the demo for that. And I enjoyed it for a little bit, but I think I had the same problem with it that I have with other auto battlers. And that basic problem is that they are a bit empty after a bit. Like I feel like I am enjoying the experience while I play, but then afterwards it feels kind of bad, which is an interesting thing to feel. It's like I ate too much candy, so it felt good while I was eating it, but then it feels like, oh, this is not the best use of my time. And I mean, it's a video game, so I think a lot of people would say, yeah, but that's how games are. You have fun, and then you move on, and that's how that goes. But I don't know. I There are a lot of games that I go away from thinking that they were actually good, enriching experiences for my life, and that's definitely not the case for auto battlers. But they do have compelling gameplay loops. So for Underlords, I like the synergies. I like that you can make the groups like the team teams kind of things. Um, like you could have three of this type and four of that type, and you get some bonuses. And upgrading the your team is nice. And of course, there's the RNG of you pick from the selection, and the selection keeps changing. And yeah, there's a lot that works for me in the genre. But there are many issues. For example, this with the building a team, one big problem that I have is that you need to replace your team at some point because your units are just not as good anymore. Like you want to replace them with the better ones. And my problem basically with that is that I get attached to my units. Like I'm an XCOM player. I wanna play with some heroes and develop them and just keep playing with them. And I don't really like selling them. It feels really bad to me. And especially if it's a unit that you have upgraded a lot. But you have to be really, like, if you want to win, if you really want to play optimally, which is what these games are about, they're about optimizing. And then you if you want to do that, you have to have no affection for your units and your team. And like that's just not the kind of player that I am. So I'm not saying the genre is objectively bad. I'm just talking about why it doesn't work for me. There's also the unpredictability of opponents. And this is something that I find very strange about the genre because it's kind of this highly competitive thing where you're trying to win. But at the same time, a big part of whether you win or not is, are you going to face an opponent that counters you? Or are you going to face an opponent that is weak against your build? And that pretty much determines whether you win or lose. So I don't actually mind the RNG for unit building and team building too much. I think that's fine because you get a lot of options still. Like you can reroll, you can do something about that RNG. But with um, with your opponents, you're just kind of stuck there. Oh, it's like you got this build that really counters you, and now you lose. Okay, it's not very interesting. But I also want to talk about the appeal of autobattlers, and I think that a big part of their appeal is that you don't have to think much. So games used to be quite active, and we are moving towards inactivity for some reason. We have idlers, which is a genre that I really have very little interest in it. And auto battlers have a similar vibe, I guess, where um, you get to watch more than you get to play. And I think that that's just something that people want that experience. They want more. hands-off thing. Well, I don't hold it against anybody, but it's interesting to note that trend. One particular pet peeve of mine against autobattlers is that you need to understand their system, like how the engine works, as you're trying to build your engine. And there's always a lot of text involved in developing that understanding. But the text really doesn't tell you what the experience of what the result of things actually is. Like, you need to actually test out your army. So it's this exercise in reading and trying to imagine how the engine is going to run. And I find it hard to evaluate what my team is going to do and how that is going to go. Another auto battler that I played recently was Holder of Place, and that's a very cool one. It has cool aesthetics and everything. I really like the art and the music for that. But I played a run, and I just have no interest in doing another run. I think I bit the demo boss, But I see no point in continuing that, because it's kind of a number go up experience. What you're trying to do is make a build, make like your next build a build that makes numbers go up more. And I really don't get that satisfaction that people seem to get from just higher numbers. Because at the end of the day, it's an old formula for games, I guess. Your numbers are higher, the enemies' numbers are higher. You feel like there was some progression accomplished, but really, what was accomplished? There's no difference from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. It's just that the numbers are bigger. But I get it, it's hard to do progression. There are not many other tools for us as game designers to work with. So you gotta work with what you have.